Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 6.1 Notes, Day 1. Today we're going to be talking about graphing square root functions. Our learning target today is to be able to graph square root functions and identify their domain and range. So here we go. Graph by using a table. Now, first thing I want you to notice is our new function that f of x equals the square root of x. So what we want to do is to go into our calculators, and actually we're going to do it right here. Okay, so it's asking us to do the square root of -4. So if you're coming here and doing the square root of -4, you get, error. That doesn't work. So this is an error. What about, okay, I gotta quit that. And let's try another one, the square root of -1. Error. What keeps going on here? Why can't I take the square root of a negative number? Oh, because it's not a real solution. Okay. I wish I would have known that before I did that. Oh, wait, I did. Okay. Square root of 0, we can do that. Square root of 0 is 0. And notice at this point right here, this is our initial point. Okay, it's not called our vertex anymore. This is called the initial point. The square root of 1. The square root of, no, not that. The square root of 4. 2. Oh, that's a lot easier. Okay, so we got 1 and then 2. So here we go. 0, 0 is where I start. And then I go to 1, 1, and it's kind of hard to see those, so I'm going to use a different pen. So we got 0, 0, 1, 1, and then 4, 2. So this is what our graph looks like. Now, if f of x equals, okay, a times the square root of x minus h plus k, then our initial point, okay, just like before when we were doing this, our initial point is going to be the opposite of h, comma, k. And that's going to tell us what to do. And our initial point for this guy is 0, 0. So the general pattern, how I got from 0, 0 to 1, 1 is the first step that we did is we went up 1. I want to say over, but it's not. So we went up 1, right 1. I went up 1, right 1 to get to that first point. Now to get to my second point, I went up 2, and then I went right 4. So up 1 over, or up 1 right 1, and then up 2 right 4. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is the domain. Remember that domain is all of your x values. Well, we used to say from negative, sorry, hold on, negative infinity to positive infinity, but that's no longer the case because I'm starting at 0. So it's going to be from 0 to positive infinity. And our range is all of our y values. Here I am at negative infinity and nothing is going on. But at positive infinity, once again, I'm starting at 0 and then it's going up to positive infinity. Okay? So it's going up, not exactly in that pattern, but it's going up. Okay. So another way to do this is we were just inputting it all manually. You can also go into your y equals. So this time I'm going to put negative square root x. And now I'm going to go to my table. And you can see that all I have error. but then I have 0, -1, -2. So once again, we have error, error, then I have 0, -1, -2. Once again, this 0, 0 is called our initial point. Okay, it's our initial point, it's our starting point. So I'm going -1, 1, and then 4, -2. So now my function looks kind of like that. Okay, now the key thing with this one is that it's a -a. Okay, that -a means that there's a reflection. Okay, just like when we were doing our quadratics and when we were doing our absolute values. Okay, that -a means there's a reflection. I have to flip my graph. Okay, now the vertex is still the opposite of h, comma, k. Now in this one, our vertex was, or our initial point, sorry, it's going to take me a while to use the correct vocabulary, but it was 0, 0. Okay, now our pattern is a little different because I'm not going up 1, now I'm going down 1, right 1, down 2, right 4. Notice we're either going up or down, and then we're always going to the right. My domain is not going to be any different because I'm going to the right. Okay, so my domain is 0 to infinity, but this time my range is different because my range, I'm going to -infinity, and then the highest point that we get is 0. Okay, so what it's asking for us to do is to graph each function and identify its domain and its range. Now, what's up with this first one? It's a quadratic, it's a parabola, it's going up. Okay, so my vertex, because I'm talking about a parabola, is -5, -7. Okay, so -5, -7. I go up 1, over 1 in both directions, and then 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, up 4. Oh, that's not up 4, Mr. Grice. Go up 1 more. Up 4 over 2. Okay? Now, our domain for a parabola is -infinity to +infinity. And my range, I go to my low. Remember, this is low to high. The lowest point that I go is -7, but then it goes up to +infinity. Okay, so it's very important when you're looking at these to pay attention. Do I have a quadratic? Do I have a parabola or a quadratic parabola? Is it linear? Is it a square root, which this one is? My A is positive, so I know that I'm going up. My initial point is -5, -7, so it's very similar to what we just did. So -5, -7, I go up 1 over 1, up 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. So this pattern was up 1 over 1, up 4 over 2, but this pattern is up 1, right 1, up 2, right 4. Okay, now looking at our domain, it's the farthest from left to right. So the farthest left I go is -5, and it goes on and on to +infinity. And our range from low to high, the lowest that I go is -7, and then it keeps going to positive infinity. Okay? So, example number 3, it's a square root. It's positive. My initial point is 1, 4. So at 1, 4, I create my initial point, up 1 over 1, up 2 over 4. Okay? So up 1, I said over again. Up 1, right 1, up 2, right 4. Okay? Now my domain, the far right that I go, if you notice, that's going to be part of my initial point. 1 to infinity. And then with my range, the highest that I go is also part of my initial point. Okay, so use your initial point to help you. All right, other side. Whoa. First off, negative, but it's a negative square root. So this guy's not square root, quadratic. Come on, Mr. Grice. See, even I'm having trouble going back and forth. Okay, so my vertex is 2, -4. So at 2, -4, so here's 2, there's -4. I go down 1 over 1, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 2. Okay, so that was down 1 over 1, down 4 over 2. Okay, now our domain is the same. Okay, there are no limits from left to right. It's negative infinity to positive infinity. But remember, our range from low to high, the lowest I go is negative infinity, but then the highest that I go is -4. Now, very similar to the last one, except this one's a square root. Okay, it's a negative square root, so we're going down. My initial point is 2, -4. Okay, so at 2, -4, 2, -4, I go down 1, right 1. So down 1, right 1, there's my first point. And then I'm going to go down 2, right 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my domain from left to right is 2 to infinity. But my range, remember, low to high. It's going down. So if it's going down, my range goes from negative infinity to -4. Okay? So we need to look at our equation, our function. It's a square root and it's negative. So it means it's going down. I take the opposite and then the outside number stays the same. That tells me to start at -6, +3. And then I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we went down 1, right 1, down, sorry, not down 4, down 2, right 4. Okay, and then our domain, The far left that I go is -6 to +infinity. And then it's from -infinity to the highest point, which is at +3. Okay? So if you take a look, we've got 1, 2, 3. They're all square roots. Okay? Our first one is positive at -9, -1. Our second one is -3, 8. And I'm not going to help you with the 9, number 9. Okay? But what I want you to do is to graph and then identify the domain and range for all of those. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, and there you go. Now, if you have any questions or you need extra help, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Remember, if you're having difficulty with the graphing, there's no reason why you can't come in here. I'm just going to do number 9 real quick. And we have x minus 5. And then on the outside, we have -4. And you can go to your graph and you can look at it just to double check, or you can go into your table of values to get those points. Okay? But the easiest thing to do is just remember the pattern and to remember your initial point. Okay? Well, guys, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 6.1 Notes, Day 1. Thanks for watching.